Welcome to Mrs. E English Skills. I'm Mrs. E and today we're looking at AQA GCSE English Language June 2023 Paper 1 Walkthrough. Firstly, let's get to know the source material. It's an extract from Life of Pi by Jan Martel. The extract is from the middle of the novel. The narrator, a teenage boy called Pi, is in a large lifeboat in the Pacific Ocean. There are no people with him in the lifeboat, but there are several animals, including an orangutan, a zebra, and a hyena. So let's look at question 1. And might I say, I think this is the best question 1 we've had for quite a while. So read lines 1 to 6. List 4 things about hyenas from this part of the source. Let's look at this section of the source. It was the hyena that worried me. I had not forgotten father's words. Hyenas attack in packs whatever animal can be run down. They go for zebras, gnus, and water buffaloes, and not only the old or the infirm in a herd, but full-grown members too. They are hardy attackers, rising up from buttlings and kickings immediately, never giving up for simple lack of will. And they are clever. Anything that can be distracted from its mother is good. Here we can see there are tons of things you could use. So my list is they attack in packs, they go for zebras, they go for gnus, they go for water buffaloes, they go for the old, they go for the infirm, they go for full-grown members. They are hardy attackers. They rise up from buttings and kickings immediately. They never give up. They are clever. And they distract prey from its mother. So now let's look at question 2, and I'm sure this is the question or the start of the questions that you're most interested in. So here we have, look in detail at this extract from lines 10 to 19 of the source. I am not one to hold a prejudice against any animal, but it is a plain fact that the spotted hyena is not well served by its appearance. It is ugly beyond redemption. Its shaggy, coarse coat is a bungled mix of colours, with the spots having none of the classy ostentation of a leopard's. They look rather like the symptoms of a skin disease. The head is broad and too massive, with a high forehead, like that of a bear, but suffering from a receding hairline and with ears that look ridiculously mouse-like, large and round, when they haven't been torn off in battle. The mouth is forever open and panting. The nostrils are too big, the tail is scraggly and unwagging. All the parts put together look dog-like, but like no dog anyone would want as a pet. The question is, how does the writer use language here to describe the hyena's appearance? So let's highlight and label words and phrases describing the hyena's appearance, starting with adjectives. So we've got ugly, shaggy, coarse, bungled, receding and scraggly. They suggest an unkempt, harsh and unattractive creature. You can go into more detail by picking out specific words and talking about the connotations associated with them, but that's the general gist. Next we have comparisons. None of the classy ostentation of a leopard's, like the symptoms of a skin disease, like that of a bear, ridiculously mouse-like, dog-like, but like no dog anyone would want as a pet. So these comparisons suggest a deformed, revolting creature with exaggerated features lacking in any form of beauty, particularly the comparison to the leopard, how the leopard is presented as ostentatious, whereas the hyena is the complete opposite. Next, we're looking at connotations. So beyond redemption, disease and battle. So this suggests a sinister beast, evil in nature. It's beyond redemption, it cannot be redeemed. And when we're looking at the battle, it makes you think it's a savage creature. Disease implies infection, parasite, making the beast sound ominous and something to fear. Then we look at the verb usage. Torn off in battle. It suggests savagery, increasing fear of this creature. And the fact the tail is unwagging emphasises the lack of joy in that creature, particularly when you compare it to the excitement of a dog. It's usually showing happiness. Well, there's no happiness or joy or goodness in this creature because the tail doesn't wag. Other language techniques of note, we've got alliteration there, and we've also got a triple. So alliteration, coarse coat, and mouse-like, large and round, the triple. Both of these will emphasise those descriptions. So if you're picking out those examples within a larger point, you can say the use of alliteration or the use of triple further emphasises this description. Okay, well, let's look at question 3 then. So this is the structure question. How has the writer structured the text to interest you as a reader? And here you're looking at the whole text. So here is the whole text, the whole extract. I'm not going to read it all, but if you want to read it all, then feel free to pause the video here, have a good read, and then carry on to see what I've identified in terms of structural techniques. So firstly, the narrator's internal thoughts have been repeated throughout, building tension. It was the hyenas that worried me. I could hear the hyena whining. I was hoping the hyena would stay under the tarpaulin. I was disappointed. I wondered what it was going to do. I was seized by fear. I tensed. I prepared for the end. So you can talk about the use of this repeated internal thoughts to keep you on edge as the character is on edge as well. Also, there's a repetitive circular cycle. In terms of the action, we've got a 25-foot indoor track. It did 1 lap, 2, 3, 4, 5 and onwards, non-stop, till I lost count, lap after lap. It started running in circles again. The hyena ran in circles, going yip yip. So in terms of the action of the hyena and the circular motion of that, it kind of symbolises or it mirrors the circular motion of how the narrator is feeling. They're looking, at the horizon, and then they're looking in the boat at the danger, and then the danger becomes even more of a danger when the hyena leapt over the zebra. So we're on high alert, and then we come down from that, and then we're on high alert again when the hyena is moving again. So the extract seems to be stuck in this circular motion, this circular pattern, with an increase and decrease of emotion, tension, and action. This repetitive cycle is also within the narrator's focus. It's stuck in a repetitive pattern as the danger is still there in the boat. We can see near the beginning of the extract that Pi has one eye on the horizon and one eye on the other end of the lifeboat. And then towards the end of the extract, still we're concerned with direct my attention to the horizon where my salvation lay. I kept straying back to this maniacal beast. So it's a constant going around in circles. There's also the repeated focus on the hyena's physical distress. So we've got, I could hear the hyena whining, whimpering and hesitating, shaking and whining. Is this to mirror the narrator's emotions or our emotions as readers? The idea that the hyena's going round in circles, the narrator's going round in circles, and us as readers are going round in circles, and we're riding this kind of roller coaster of emotions throughout. Okay, on to question 4 then. Focus this part of your answer on the second part of the source from line 20 till the end. A student said this part of the story where the hyena behaves wildly is funny rather than frightening. the writer suggests that the hyena is actually no serious threat to Pi. To what extent do you agree? Firstly, you need to decide, do you agree or do you disagree? Try to find reasons for the statement to acknowledge their opinion, even if you don't agree, because there will be some part of that backs up, some part of the extract that backs up what the student has said. For example, it turned on itself a few times, whimpering and hesitating. The whole time, lap after lap, it went yip, 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 yip in a high-pitched way. It started running in circles again. The hyena ran in circles going yip, 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 yip. Hacked and coughed, abruptly vomited, and shaking and whining. That could support the first part of the student's statement. So for that, we could write, the repetitive circling and onomatopoeic yip yip would be quite comedic to witness, essentially implying a crazed, confused creature. Adding to this the repetition of physical signs of distress with the descriptive verbs whimpering, hesitating, shaking and whining would imply the creature is more terrified than the narrator. The short sentence abruptly vomited emphasises this, and you could almost feel sorry for the beast. But personally, I disagree with the part of the statement that says the writer suggests that the hyena is actually no serious threat to Pi. So I personally would add a however, and then find evidence to support why I disagree. So we've got it leapt over the zebra and racing my way. I would put, however, the writer reminds the reader of the animal's speed using the verbs leapt and racing to suggest, although chaotic, a moment's hesitation could result in tragedy for our narrator. I also noticed the beast. It was no small animal. It made the whole boat shake, its claws, and the maniacal beast. For that, I would say, by referring to it as the beast and drawing attention to its size and strength, no small animal made the boat shake. This emphasises the danger this wild animal presents. Later in the extract, the writer describes it as a maniacal beast. The madness that could be mistaken for comedy is all but evaporated into a dangerous lunacy rather than something to chuckle at. And then I noticed jaw hanging open and eyes bright and black. For this, I could write the physical description of the jaw hanging open implies an eagerness to feast, and the connotations associated with black eyes remind the reader of the associated evil evident in the earlier description presented by Pi. Obviously, this is subjective, as most of the answers are. It depends how you've read the extract and what you've picked up on. But in terms of question 4, usually there is some level of agreement, or at least an ability to see the student's point of view, and you will need to try and back this up. However, you can disagree, but you need to make sure you evidence and support why you disagree within the point evidence explained structure. Question 5 then. I thought this was quite a nice one with lots of avenues you could go down. So we had a wildlife magazine is running a creative writing competition and the winning entry will be published in its next edition. Either write a description of a zoo or wildlife park as suggested by this picture, or write a story about a human meeting an animal. This is obviously dependent on your own choice. However, to give an idea of what could be achieved, a lovely colleague of mine has written an example for the description task, so I'll show you this now. So, for write a description of a zoo or wildlife park as suggested by this picture, and as you can see there's lots of detail in this picture, so lots of things you could describe and starting points. Hopefully, if you've chosen this, you've been able to use numerous language techniques in order to fully describe the image. But here is my lovely colleague's interpretation. The park is wild and colourful. Verdant grass edges the stone pathways and cobbled bridges. It looks like a piece of heaven. As I approach it, the sounds of animals at rest and at play fill the air, bursting to life. My heart swells as I pick out the cries of the animals, the roar of the lions, the loud call of the elephants, the squeaks of the penguins, and I can picture their colours before I see them. Tall hedges protect the wildlife park like a closely guarded secret. The gates open and all the wonder unfurls. Inside are short-sleeved men with sweat patches on their backs, wiping the necks unsheltered by their hats. Women with skirts like umbrellas perched over fences, and children barely able to contain their joy as they watch two crocodiles swimming in ferocious synchronicity. I take it all in. The air is heavy with the smell of salted water, which reminds me that I forgot to clean out my fish tank. I make a mental pledge to complete the unpleasant task when I get home. Behind the crocodiles, a family of elephants are elevated by a sandy hill, their grey skin waxy and bright in the sunshine. The parents cover their children in their shade, squirting water from their trunks into their backs. The children dip their reverential heads in, thanks. Another elephant whose skin is drier and wears the rings of age like a splendid oak, has hidden in the small red tower, peeping out every now and then, a gigantic cuckoo in a clock. They join together in a triumphant chorus, trunks becoming bugles in the air, filling the space with their presence. In the centre of the park there is a kiosk draped in colourful bunting, red, white and blue flags dancing in the breeze. Behind the counter a woman tries to keep up with the ever-changing order of the harassed mother, who is trying to navigate her children, who've disbanded like flies. The youngest is making a bid for freedom, on a shiny red bike, which wobbles under the weight of their enthusiasm. A boy in yellow shorts squints in concentration at the treats on offer, frowning in indecision. The girl, whose yellow hair matches her dress, stands patiently as the chaos unfurls around her. Her elder brother cannot take his eyes away from the standoff between the boy loosely holding a red balloon and the elephant who is curling a trunk towards it in anticipation of a new toy. Their order fulfilled, the mother pulls them away and in the direction of the tigers, and the man who watches them through binoculars, zooming in on their stripes behind the safety of the lens. The lions on the hill watch all the comings and goings in majestic nonchalance, occasionally flipping the flies away with a heavy swish of the tail. Lion cubs frolic at the edge of the mountain under the watchful eye of their mother, who guards them protectively away from the hatted family who wave their hands like snacks in front of the small barricade. Only the chimpanzees are caged, and their home is as ornate as the iron lampposts dotted around the park, illuminating the animals when the humans have gone, and nighttime brings long shadows and longer silences. Several use the bars of the cage as invisible branches, twisting their bodies into question marks or swinging from upturned iron umbrellas at the top, flipping and shifting position with acrobatic precision. There is a world beyond the confines of the park, a world where fence is darker and more obstructive, and the buildings behind it shaped in stone uniformity. There is a world that only the giraffes see. I wonder if they dream about it, if they ever imagine themselves in the rooms in those houses, or watch the humans going about their ordinary lives, watching television, eating their meals, going to sleep. What would they make of us if the roles were reversed, and we were the ones in cages? How amazing is that example? Wonderfully descriptive, with hundreds, as an exaggeration, lots and lots and lots of literary devices to make it seem as if you're standing amongst all of that chaos, I suppose, within that image. It would be a good idea, or it would be a good exercise for you to rewind this video a little bit and see how many language techniques you can spot and jot them down. This will also help you practice for paper 2, where you know there is a language question. And there is a writing element as well, where you can use lots of devices, and you should use lots of devices. So making sure you know what devices are out there is always a good thing. Thank you for watching, and a big thank you to my wonderful colleagues who contributed to this video. You know who you both are, and it's very much appreciated. Don't forget to check out my other videos to keep improving your English, and watch out for the 2023 Paper 2 walkthrough, which I'll release next week after the paper has been released and sat. As ever, please leave a comment if you've got any questions, and like and subscribe for more videos and to show that you like them, I suppose. I'm Mrs. E, and I'll see you soon.